Welcome back to our channel, ladies and gentlemen. If there is one reason why the Ruto administration will fail, it is because he's got an incompetent cabinet. And those are not my words. William Ruto himself, yesterday during that occasion, the signing of the performance contract, revealed not only to the nation but to the international community that he appointed men and women who do not understand their roles in those various ministries. He explained that when he comes many a times and asks or inquires something pertaining to their various ministries, the men and women who are in charge are fumbling and they are unable to answer properly. And with that, William Ruto fired a warning shot. Many Kenyans feel that this is a mere PR because William Ruto is carrying a lot of burden on his shoulders. People have been killed out there. People are grappling with very many challenges. And so many feel that he was only doing this so that he can gain some political mileage and win the confidence of Kenyans. Now, if you look at that, within less than 72 hours, there are several things that have happened that only adds salt to injury and corroborates the sentiments that William Ruto is operating with an incompetent and a non-coordinated cabinet. Just the other day, the CS in the Ministry of Health, Nakumicha, decided to exercise what I call usurped authority and decreed an ultimatum of 24 hours to transfer an OCS whom she felt performed or underperformed in his docket. And when she was asked why she was taking the responsibility of Kithure Kindiki, who is fully in charge of the police, Nakumicha gave one answer, that under the Ruto administration, they are working under a policy that is called one approach. In other words, she can issue decrees in any ministry without any problem. Kithure Kindiki, for example, can come and sack someone within her docket and there's no problem. You can go to the Ministry of Health, Ministry of Education, and you will do anything as long as you sit in that cabinet. And I have a feeling that if the courts had not suspended the inclusion of Ndi and Malala into the cabinet, then it means that they can also issue decrees and affect changes without any problem. Now that is not enough. Just the other day, two cabinet secretaries issued conflicting statements contradicting each other on a matter that is very weighty. The world is called the world Bitcoin or something? When people thronged town because there is some kind of data vulnerability, and people thronged KICC. Very many youths, some were even tired and lying down because someone was telling me, unapimwa macho hapo, then I think you get some money. People don't have money. People are really grappling with poverty. So Eliud Owalo, in whose docket whatever was happening lies directly, because this is the Minister of ICT that is very much concerned with data. When he was confronted with this situation, an exotic something happening in our country that compromised our data and compromised security, Eliud explained that the owners and the perpetrators of Bitcoin and all that had not breached any law. A few hours later, Kithure Kindiki issued a warning and even stopped that exercise. People were tear-gassed in KCC. This has really left the country wondering, what is really happening? We only have one government. Yet they are issuing contradicting statements. And today, in Parliament, members of Parliament took issue, especially the opposition, because they are saying that if this continues, Kenyans will be left very vulnerable because you don't know who to believe. Let's say today, Kithure Kindiki comes and say there is a curfew in Nairobi. Then Duale says there is no curfew. Under the policy of one approach, who do we believe? Because if you go out there, whenever there is a curfew, you will be killed if you are found outside there. Yet another person comes and tells you that there is no curfew. I'm trying to paint for you a picture that Ruto's government must ensure that people speak on one accord. I find it very erroneous that a cabinet secretary can purport to be speaking on behalf of another. It really means that there is a lack of coordination in this government. No wonder many a times you find them politicking. When you look at people like the trades minister, Moses Kuria, sometimes he forgets that he's holding a very delicate docket that involves meeting with investors. You see, investors are very particular. Whenever there is a problem in the country, when they see a cabinet secretary engaging in too much politics and is the one that is being used as an instrument of violence, then they flee. No wonder there are confessions from our neighbors that there is an upsurge of investors going to their countries because our cabinet secretaries cannot differentiate between the work that they've been given and politicking. Duale, for example, they will continue attacking Raila Amolo Odinga. William Ruto confessing to us that they are incompetent and then they are speaking in different forms means that there is a problem. And this is the reason why even the vision that the Kenya Kwanza team had will not be realized. We have seen sometimes even Kithure Kindiki himself issuing a statement concerning the Azimio demonstrations. Then a junior officer comes and contradicts him, telling him that the Azimio demonstration has been banned. And you wonder, is there confusion in the government? And if there is confusion within these dockets, do you think we can trust that there is anything good that will come out of it? Do you think this is the government that will take it for 5 years? Because right now, Kenyans are in the middle of an economic and social quagmire. Economic, social, and political quagmire. And we need people who speak with sobriety. We need people who can sit down. In fact, William Ruto was saying that under the constitution, the cabinet secretaries are supposed to advise him, yet they're sleeping on the job. In fact, he was telling them, you go and read. There's a lot of materials that you can read. No wonder sometimes you even find the chief government advisor, attorney general, sleeping on the job. I'm saying that he's sleeping on the job because just the other day, the court stopped Malala and the other group from attending cabinet meetings when they had been okayed. They had been given the green light to start attending cabinet meetings. Yet under the constitution, they are not supposed to be one and parcel of it. Don't forget that in the previous administration, even Uhuru himself tried, including people like John Mbadi, who was heading the Nairobi Metropolitan Services, to be in the cabinet, and it was stopped in a court of law. But William Ruto coming still repeats the same thing, and it tells you that the entire cabinet, including those who are supposed to advise William Ruto, are confused. What do they say when they sit on those cabinet meetings? The number one thing that William Ruto must now show them is to call them to order so that we know who to trust. This kind of one approach is ill invited because we will not know who to. There will be a lot of confusion if every person can be speaking on behalf of the other. We are still waiting for Eliud Owalo and Kithure Kindiki to give us one direction on what is happening, so that we should know what to do. And this is an indictment. If William Ruto feels and has confessed that he's got an incompetent cabinet, corrupt, confused, not enlightened, cannot deliver services, then he must do the most honorable thing. Let him reshuffle the cabinet. And if he thought that governance would be easy, full of theatrics and playing politics and a lot of public relations, then he is wrong. If it is too much for him, there are people who can do it better, because Kenya has got competent personnel, men and women, who can govern.